to Wax and Lyrical with Mainz and Dutts. I'm your host, Mainz. My colleague, already nervous for Saturday 5pm, is Mr. Neil Dutton. How are we, Neil?
Are we actually allowed to give our full names on this podcast, or do we just have to report that there is a podcast happening and we can't say which of us was funny and which of us made the technical cock-ups?
For people who are unaware what Neil is discussing, we can talk about whatever we want. We can also not suggest that concussions are that American football is a dangerous sport while being the GM of said team. Obviously, we're talking about the Buffalo Bills, who banned reporters from speaking about people who dropped balls and who threw interceptions during OTAs.
The best one I saw was an enterprising Bills beat writer who said a quarterback whose jersey number is the square root of 25 just threw a very fluttery pass that was intercepted.
I saw that too. That was excellent. Bills are fools, Rex Ryan's a fool. Plain and simple, don't need to go any more into it.
That's the problem I have, is that that they're having this media blackout, as it were, despite the fact having one of the most verbose, which is the most polite way I can put it, windbag, even less polite, head coaches in Christendom.
He nearly traded for Odell Beckham Jr.,
Yeah, so did I.
It's weird that.
Yeah. Do you know why I can say this, Rex? Because it's unquantifiable garbage.
Exactly. And we are experts in said activity.
In answering back to your original point, I'm not talking about Saturday. I'm too nervous. Let's move on.
There's a guy who I work with, Neil, in my job at present, who's actually from said locale and is heading on a coach to London to watch a game that we will not discuss.
It would be wonderful to be there because Wednesday have actually sold out their allocation, but the pessimist in me thinks it's a hell of a long way to go to be a loser.
I've been to Athens and back. It's not pretty. Believe you me. So Dutton, this week no guest. It makes a change, but it's just me and you this week. We have Weird World as always. We're going to discuss what we see as some of the best jobs on the planet following a dismissal from one of those best jobs this week. And we are then going to start a new series on Wax and Lyrical, which is the Neil Dutton 13s. And Neil is going to give all the listeners his view on the 13 best quarterbacks this week from a fantasy angle.
With a huge surprise omission.
And what I will say is I have no clue what he's doing, so I will be learning it on the cuff, much like all our listeners. Tell you what, Dutton, let's get straight on with it and get to Weird World. First one, Dutton, it's a magic one. You know when you're supposed to look after something and you lose it?
Frequently.
It's really annoying, right? There's certain things that in your job role you can't lose. I would suggest if I was an undertaker, not the undertaker, a undertaker, I wouldn't want to lose my hearse, especially if I had a corpse in it.
Yeah,
the issue you would have is, how do you explain that when the reason you lost it is you went and got pissed at lunchtime? An unfortunate undertaker managed to lose his entire hearse and a dead body after stopping for a boozy lunch on his way to a funeral. The driver had been sent back to Italy to pick up the corpse and take it back to Poland, but stopped off for a bite to eat along the way. I've put inverted commas on bite to eat. After parking his Mercedes hearse somewhere near the main train station in Munich, the hapless funeral worker, bad place to stop, by the way, beer capital of Europe. The hapless funeral worker was unable to find his vehicle, which still had the deceased locked up in the back. Local police officers told the media he wasn't very helpful and we think that the alcohol may have come into play. They actually said may have come into play here. After 24 hours and a public call for help, the car was eventually stopped near the city's Isla River, which is nowhere near the train station. The 20-year-old later continued his journey on to Warsaw to deliver the body.
The only issue, one of the main issues I have there is, did you say the whole of his hearse was taken?
Yeah.
What did they think they were going to do? Someone was going to steal the hearse but leave the doors? Maybe leave a wheel? Of course they're going to take the whole hearse.
May have not taken what's inside the hearse, though. I guess would be what needs to describe it. The whole hearse, including dead body.
If you want to go for a joyride, in a death wagon, you're all in. You don't play by normalities rules. You're going for it. I'm surprised they didn't go full Weekend at Bernie's and put the corpse up in the front seat with them.
If you're going joyriding in a death wagon, maybe the headline for our podcast forevermore. Yeah, I don't think there's any way around. Some dude stole a drunk man's hearse, drove it around Munich and dropped it off somewhere after he'd had a laugh. Probably did some kind of Weekend at Bernie's action. Definitely took multiple selfies, either inside the front passenger seat or actually next to the coffin.
I would be. I'd drive. I'd literally take it to a drive-through and have corpse in. Once you've changed round, I'd be holding them up. Obviously trying to find some way to keep the car going forward, but hold them up, reach up, get the food. Because let's be honest, a lot of fast food workers look like they're dead anyway.
Most of them probably are.
Inside,
wise they are dead. They have been their souls sucked out probably by a ginger like me. Here's your next one, Dutton. How annoying is it when you queue to go for a pee?
What's this queue thing you speak of?
Well, if you've ever been to like someone's house and you've got to wait, that the standard house party and you've got to wait for a piss.
The annoying thing about the wait for a piss is that sometimes you're not entirely certain the room you stood outside is actually a bathroom.
Yeah.
I have waited 10 minutes outside an airing cupboard.
I've waited 10 minutes to see a boy and girl come out and then thought I don't really need the toilet anymore because I don't want to be sitting on that seat.
The love nest.
That's gross. Have you ever thought while queuing for the toilet, you know what, I'm going to shoot someone?
If I'm queuing for the toilet, there's pretty much only one thought in my mind, and that is to, carry out the transaction that will enable me not to be queuing for the toilet. As I don't tend to queue for the toilets armed.
A Connecticut man is behind bars after being accused of shooting up his neighbour's bathroom because the person using it was taking too long. Sean Cummins, irony, 22, was arrested early Sunday morning after Vernon police got a call about a highly intoxicated man at a local apartment complex. Responding officers said Cummins was outside and highly intoxicated but was taken into custody without struggle. Police said Cummins went over to his neighbour's apartment to hang out around 2 a.m.
As you do.
I think he's getting stoned, but that's me parenthetically adding that in. At some point, he became upset because someone wouldn't get out the bathroom. Cummins allegedly showed his displeasure by taking out his 9mm handgun, which you obviously bring round when you go to your mates.
To chill at 2 a.m.
And firing one shot into a closed bathroom door. The bullet barely missed the person inside, police said.
Did it make them crap themselves? Which is okay because...
That's probably why he did it. Maybe they were constipated and he fired the gun to alleviate said issue.
And, if Johnny Cochran could possibly take that case on, with that argument, I'm sure he'd win it.
I think he would, son. I think he would. As always, we love Weird World because the world is literally insane. If you've got any stories you want to tell us, tweet me or Neil. I'm at Mainzy7. Neil is at ndutton13. Or tweet the show at waxing_lyrical.
Speaking of weird, have you seen this video that's emerged? I think it's like an advert from the 80s or 90s of Donald Trump eating a pizza the wrong way.
Yeah, I saw that on Mr. James, the friend of the show, James Dixon. It's horrific.
Yeah.
Shouldn't that stop him from being president automatically?
What creature is eating a pizza crust first? Unless, stuffed crust or garlic dough balls, when you've got on them, you take it off, but you still eat the pointy end of the triangle first.
There's no excuse for it, and shouldn't get political, but people are voting for him.
Well, he is is consorting with winners. As he's pointed out how easily Colin Montgomery made winning majors look.
Do you want to tell him, or should I?
Colin Montgomery, has won as many majors as both people on this podcast. From Thursday to Saturday, he's probably one of the greatest players of all time. Unfortunately, Sunday he poses his pants and has a mantelpiece empty.
He had an aversion. He had an aversion to winning claret jugs.
He had a fear of winning, but apparently he's won loads on the Senior Open. Great, bothered.
Great, love that. I also mute you when you're on Sky Sports.
Oh, I don't even want to get into that. He is one of the worst. Is he a pundit? He's not a commentator. He's whatever he is. He's crap at it.
He's like a colour commentator, and his colour is grey.
Yeah, he's awesome. Love you, Colin.
Let's move swiftly on. Unless you live under a rock or are in the States or don't care about soccer/football, you will not know that Manchester United sacked Louis van Gaal this week. Didn't
they sack him last week, technically?
Another classless move by Manchester United, as it took about a week for them to announce it, but it took Jose Mourinho's agent, like 5 minutes. What I will say is, though, it's a good job if you can get it, because Louis van Gaal was sacked after winning the FA Cup, for which he won £450,000 as a bonus from Manchester United Football Club. And then he won $5 million for getting sacked. So this made me think, Football Manager, which people say does stress, and if you look at before and after pictures of the likes of Rafa Benitez, David Moyes, you do age quite considerably while doing those jobs. However, if you get sacked, for example, by Chelsea, like most managers do, you get a tidy payoff of somewhere between £5 and £6 million a year. So I thought, what other jobs are the best jobs in the world on? And I've got a list for you here.
There is just a quick one I have. There is one club that used to be in the Premiership who actually have performance standards for their manager, so they don't have to pay them if they sack them. Do you know the club?
I'm going to say it's Leeds because they're insane.
No, it's a club that is owned by a man who loves having a sale. It's Newcastle United.
Just so you know, I don't think Rafa Benitez, who signed a 3-year contract today, signed a contract that related to performance standards.
That's just speculation, that though, isn't it, Paul? It's not fact.
It's not fact, it's not. So let's stay with sport on best jobs. And as we say multiple times on this show, and I've said on other shows that we aren't on anymore and don't exist, backup quarterback. Do sweet FA and get paid for the privilege.
I mean, it's not exactly a testing, set of criteria you have to fulfill. It's be ready. You've got to be ready to do your job. But if your job is, this guy who, has got all the practice reps, he's got all the attention this week, he might get injured early. Can you remember the last time a quarterback got injured ridiculously early in a game? Doesn't tend to happen.
It's not a standard thing, but like if we take an example of your Philadelphia Eagles, you have 2 backup quarterbacks this year who, correct me if I'm wrong, are earning in their respective long-term contracts somewhere in the region of $60 million.
Yeah,
that's a lot of money for sweet FA.
Sometimes you get what you pay for in life.
You do. I think we're playing Colt McCoy $5 million a year. This is good gig.
Oh, it's the best gig in the world, because it's if your team's doing well, no one cares about you. If your team are doing badly, the fans will love you as long as you don't actually play.
True, very true. It is. You are the best player on the team if you are the backup quarterback and your quarterback isn't playing very well, because you look sparkly and new.
Yep. The best bowler in a 4-man attack is the 5th bowler.
Correct. So away from sport, I found a couple of other ones which sounded pretty awesome. Taste Master. So I found this one earlier this year. Rich Keane from Brighton was selected as Western Australia's Taste Master, which will see him eat and drink his way around the state for 6 months and promoting it to the rest of the world. The job was advertised was advertised as part of a campaign by Australia Tourist Board, which saw 6 candidates being hired for the best jobs in the world. An American was hired as chief funster for New South Wales, which includes being a professional partygoer and VIB. Only upside down Australia convict land could come up with jobs where all you had to do was eat and talk about it and party and talk about it.
Why do I feel this is actually a pitch for another unconvincing Owen Wilson Vince Vaughn vehicle?
The Tastemaster. Which one would be Tastemaster and which one would be Chief Funster?
Chief Funster is definitely Wilson, and Tastemaster is Vaughan. I think he carries himself a bit heavier than Wilson. So
I'm
yeah,
sure the True Detective season 2 would have been better if they would have used Tastemaster and Chief Funster.
True Detective Series 2 would have been better if literally it had just been 20 minutes of Colin Farrell, Vaughan looking at each other going, we're getting paid for this crap.
Great Tash, though, on Farrell.
Oh, Tash for the ages. Unfortunately, one of the worst follow-ups of all time.
Can't really argue with that. I could probably try and think of some, but it is awful.
It's killed it. It's killed something that they could have run with it, but it was just they've killed it. They can't make that another one of them. No one will watch the damn thing.
No one's interested. You're right, Dalton. You're right.
But they will watch. They will watch Tastemaster and Funster.
They will watch Tastemaster and Funster. Coming to Fox soon. Starring Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson. Next job done. Professional sleeper. See, I didn't know this was a job because I am semi-professional at this, although I don't get paid. Earlier this year, a hotel in Finland advertised for a professional sleeper to spend 35 days testing out their beds. Hotel Finn was looking for a blogger to write about their sleeping experience and be paid for it. 70 days for a salary of £11,000 to sleep.
No, you've missed a bit there, Old Bean. That's a totally different. That's a totally different proposition or another professional sleeper.
Oh, what? Oh, yeah, sorry. The US Space Agency, NASA, offered volunteers the chance to stay in bed for 70 days. So not only can you do it in a hotel, you can do it on a spaceship for £11,000.
11 grand to stay in bed for 70 days.
I could do that easily for 11 grand.
I'm pretty certain they're not going to let you have your iPad, your phone, or any television, though.
Ooh, can I eat?
I'm sure you can eat, but it'll probably be in, some kind of crazy-ass liquid form or a pellet.
I assume I have to pee in a
piss in
bag.
A tube.
Yeah.
Do you know, by the way, interesting space fact, they don't use bread when making sandwiches on the space station because bread leaves crumbs. They use tortillas.
That's something new just hit me there. That's a fact bomb straight away from Mr. Neil Dunn. Yeah,
tell me, any waxers who can use such information and trick a woman to sleep in with them, just invite me to the stag do. We can bond over that.
Final one, Dutton. Freelance writer. Freelance writers can work from the comfort of their own homes. They have control over what jobs to accept, meaning those that require immediate deadlines can be rejected. You can earn as much money as you need by simply accepting as many jobs as possible. If you desire a little rest, all you can do is pick only the jobs that you need for the week. You get to practice your passion to writing, even though you've got a lot of free time to do other stuff. This suggests that a freelance writer can earn up to £105,000 a year. As a freelance writer, Dutton, show me the money.
I personally wouldn't take the pay cut to $105,000 a year.
Well done, Neil. Well done. Best jobs. I'm still going for football manager. Okay, I have to put up with prima donna footballers who dive and cry and loads of stuff. But when I get beat 6 games out of 7, someone's going to give me £2 million to go away.
That is a good one. I mean, I would probably pay a lot of people £6 million to go away if it meant, they never bothered me again. James Corden, for example.
James or Greg Corden James Corden can't go away. He is in the consciousness. There's no way you can escape James Corden.
Yeah, I truly wish I could.
He's like oxygen. He's just there.
He's a waste of oxygen.
Well, that's to be determined on. That's to be determined.
We seem to have got confused between him and this concept of amusing and always on the telly. It's not the same thing.
Yanks love him though. America loves James Corden.
We have a lot of friends who are Americans who've graced us with their time to join us in this pod. I'm not going to offend them nor their countrymen by making any suggestive comments as to why this may be the case. The unfunny git.
On that note, Dutton, I think we'll move swiftly on to a new segment in the show. So, Dutton, here we are. OTAs have started, so it's time to start thinking about your fantasy team.
If you've only started now, you're in trouble.
Well, I'm only starting now. I'm in trouble. I never win anyway. Although I did come like third last year. That was my best in a long time.
So you lost.
Still a loss.
Yeah.
What we're going to do over the next few weeks is the Neil Dutton 13 series. As you know, Dutton's Twitter handle is Dutton13. That means he likes the number 13. And because I'm clever, I came up with this concept, although they're all Dutton's players. Every week, over the next few weeks, we're going to go through Dutton's top 13 in a particular area in the NFL. This week is quarterback, Neil. Please go from 13 to 1, because otherwise this is a stupid idea.
It is. I should point out that this is just based on preliminary ideas. I haven't actually done my full projections for all 32 teams as yet. But using, my exclusive access with RotoViz, I will have them done. I have done, I think it's 10 teams, but a lot of them are going to have to get redone because of new information that's come to light. But I digress.
Thanks for all those excuses on why people won't like your list. That was great. Well done.
Okay, number 13, and this isn't necessarily quarterback. This isn't quarterbacks I would pick if I'm starting a franchise. This isn't quarterbacks who I'd want if I had 10 seconds to live and one quarterback to hold the ball. This is quarterbacks who I think will get me the points in fantasy football. So 13, the top QB2, as it were, in 12-team leagues, is Blake Bortles.
Hey, why Bortles at 13?
I just think Bortles, obviously he has the offensive weapons in Allen Robinson and Alan Hearns. I think the way they're constructing themselves, they don't want to play video game offense. They do want to try and run the ball a bit more, which will limit his opportunities to pass. They've got Chris Ivory and they've got TJ Yeldon. So I don't think they want him putting up 4,500 yards, 30-plus touchdowns. So I just think while he will, because they're going to get, their defense has got better, but it's not perfect. I just think he's going to regress this year. Not through his own performance, just more game script.
Number 12,
Derek Carr.
So again, well done, congratulations. That's the first time we've done this, and you've actually called him Derek.
Yep, good old Degs. Again, I think this is 12, so this is QB1 territory. This is, lower end. He could go either way. He's got some good pass-catching weapons. But again, I think they are going to try and run the ball. Their offensive coordinator is Bill Musgrave. He comes from he was in Minnesota with Adrian Peterson. He likes to feed a running back. Whether that is Latavius Murray, which I doubt it will be, because I think the Raiders are finally catching up with me. He's not very good. I think Carr, he's another one of these. This is that area. He could go up a few spots. He could go down a few. But if anything, I think this is a good place to start for him.
So in theory, Dutton last year, Derek Carr threw the 13th most yards in the league. Balls was up at 7, but you expect him to drop down a bit, I guess.
I think if all things being equal, I think that's what the Jags would like.
Although he did throw 18 interceptions last year, Blake Bortles. Derek Carr, only 13. Sorry, Dutton, number 11.
Number 11, a person I've wrote about recently for RotoViz, Matthew Stafford. Obviously, he's lost Calvin Johnson, but they do have a talented cast of players around him. Golden Tate has shown he can carry the load in a small sample size without Megatron. Eric Ebron was was playing quite well last year, but then all of a sudden disappeared. Jim Bob Cooter has shown the team has a more, not commitment, but a stronger inclination to run the ball. But even so, they're going to run the ball to set up the pass. The option and opportunity is still going to be there for Stafford to put up presentable numbers. So I think he's not done yet.
Last year he had 4,200 yards, 32 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, ranked him 8th in terms of yards.
His last 8 games gave him 19 of those touchdowns and only 2 interceptions.
Yeah, much better towards the end when Cooter took more of the reins.
Mm-hmm.
Number 10, Dutton.
Tyrod Taylor, Buffalo Bills.
Why, Dutton? Talk me through this one.
Well,
this one
Tyrod Taylor,
a few people.
It may well do. Tyrod Taylor has that. This is the first one we've come to really of this type. He has the yardage with his feet element. He's a mobile quarterback. He's going to get his rushing yards as well. They did try and open up the offense a bit more, let him take his shots downfield with Sammy Watkins. It's not the most talented offense in the world. Sammy Watkins is going to spend his entire career dinged up because, we're not meant to play football, are we, Doug? But, it's a question of, how much are they going to put on his plate? Because he's going to want to perform because he wants a new contract. I don't know. I haven't exactly got a quite bead on the Bills yet this season, but he's not a bad. He's a good passer of the ball. He's got a lovely deep throw. So with Sammy Watkins and, as I say, the yardage he can get with his feet, I think he's a top 10 fantasy quarterback.
So last year he threw for 3,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, but ran for over 550 yards and did score 4 TDs with his feet. Very useful, obviously. Into the top 10, number 9.
Number 9, Phil Rivers.
Old man Rivers, talk me through why he's so low.
He's so low because I don't think the Chargers are going to be very good. He's going to be in a lot of games. I don't think their defense is in any great shakes. They're going to have to be in a lot of games. They want to try and run the ball, bless them, with Melvin Gordon, but he's coming off microfracture surgery, and there's a very real possibility he's not very good. So they're going to have Danny Woodhead who's going to be a passing option. They've got Keenan Allen coming back. They've got Antonio Gates. They've got Hunter Henry. They brought Travis Benjamin in. He's got options. He's going to throw the ball. Obviously, he's completely the opposite from Tyrod Taylor. He offers nothing with his feet. He is an absolute statue. But I think he's carried this team for the best part of a decade. He's still got a bit of life left in him.
Number 7, Dutton.
Eli.
Is it 8 now?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is number 8.
Yeah.
Eli.
Okay. Is this purely on Odell Beckham Jr.?
Odell Beckham, bit of faith in Sterling Shepard. No real run game to speak of. Certainly not an you can hang your hat on. Crummy defense, going to be in a lot of games. And the system seems to suit him. So he was good last year. He was completing, I think, nearly 64% of his passes,
62.
maybe.
62.6. Yeah. He threw for 4,400 yards. He had 35 touchdowns and 14 interceptions.
Which for Eli is a fabulous ratio. I just think they're going to be in a lot of games. They're not going to blow anyone out. They're not going to be able to play ball control offense. And that's good news for Eli and Odell Beckham.
Number 7, done.
Carson Palmer.
So why, with all the weapons around him, people may think that he will be higher. Why isn't he?
I just think that the Cardinals for me are an incredibly strong team, and they're going to be aggressive. That's what Bruce Arians is, but he does call off the dogs eventually. And I think there's probably going to be some games where the air is going to get taken out of it, and it's going to go over to David Johnson, maybe Chris Johnson, maybe Andre Ellington. Though why you'd bother, I don't know. I just think that the Cardinals are going to be in a position that they'll be able to protect Carson Palmer to try and avoid situations like they had during the stretch last year where, in the championship game especially, he didn't help them. So if they can take him away from those situations, he's going to be productive. But you actually look at their play calling tendencies, they're in the middle, certainly they were last year in terms of pass attempts and rush attempts. He has been very efficient as a Bruce Arians quarterback. I just think that the people above him are going to have more opportunities.
6 done.
Russell Wilson, we come again, a quarterback with the added bonus of being able to score fancy points with his feet. Did only score one rushing touchdown last year, but did set career marks in passing touchdowns and passing yards. The Seahawks are going to run the ball more, they said this year. That's a lovely idea. They've attempted the 29th, 32nd, and 29th pass attempts the last 3 years. But they do want to go back to being ground and pound, run the ball, shove it down the throats. It's just a question of can Thomas Rawls, CJ Prosise, or Alex Collins be that guy, or Kristen Michael even, and how much they do want to put on Russell Wilson. But because of his improvisational skills, he's always going to give you more points and more appeal as a rusher as well as a passer.
550 yards rushing last year, but as Dutton said, only one touchdown. Number 5, done. Top 5.
We go into the top 5, and people may notice that there's one name I haven't said yet, and I'll say again, his name isn't in the top 5 either. Tom Brady. He's going to lose 4 games. The amount of production he puts in a single game, times it by 4, and now take that away from him. I don't think he's going to have enough chance in 12 games to catch up with these people. That's why he's not in the top 13.
5 done.
5 is Andrew Luck.
Do you expect a bounce back?
Sorry, I flipped. Sorry, I read the wrong one. Drew Brees.
So do you expect a bounce back here from the Saints then?
No, defense is horrible.
To throw a lot of throws.
It's what he does. They are up near the top 4 at least every year in terms of pass attempts. They don't run the ball particularly well. Their defense is horrible, so they can't blow teams out and then take the foot off the gas. They have to keep throwing the ball. Drew Brees is a ridiculously efficient passer, even at this advanced age, and he's productive. I mean, he's got a few weapons around him. He's got the good Mike Thomas, should we say, Brandon Cooks, who was wide receiver 11 last year, despite the fact no one ever seems to mention him. And they've got Kobe Fleener, who's going to come in and try and take the tight end role. He's got weapons. They don't have a defense. He's going to throw the ball an awful lot.
Number 4, Dutton, I guess, is Andrew Luck.
It's Andrew Luck.
The question is, you expect him to bounce back from the injury hit last season?
I do. I think I've said jokingly, the tongue in my cheek, that they finally got the memo that they are allowed to protect their quarterback. The big problem is that, you can put a better line in front of him. You've still got a 33-year-old running back who was, in the words of his head coach last year, beat to crap in Frank Gore. They're going to have to throw the ball a lot more. This division, the AFC South, is wide open with not particularly good defenses, but an awful lot of, some good improving offenses. This team is going to run through Andrew Luck. If he hasn't already got his extension by the start of the season, he's going to be playing for it because, let's be honest, they want to make him the richest player in NFL history. They want to give him that contract. With the weapons he's got around him, your T.Y. Hilton, your Dante Moncrief, your Philip Dorsett, Dwayne Allen as well. Again, he's going to throw the ball an awful lot, and I would expect him to be closer to the 2014 look than the 2015.
Number 3, Dutton.
Ben Roethlisberger. Now, we have this problem last year that we thought, could he and Antonio Brown have as prolific a hookup if, as I thought, Le'Veon Bell was going to be fantasy's number 1 running back? Obviously, Le'Veon Bell is getting pretty close to that awkward area that he's going to start being called injury prone, because it's the last 3 years he's been he's either missed the start or missed the end because of injury. But we have seen they pass the ball an awful lot. Antonio Brown's a target monster, so the link up there is good. They've lost Martavis Bryant, so they're going to hope Marcus Wheaton comes and does something. He won't. He's not very good. Sammy Coates, they hope, is going to make a big push in his second year. Precedent is on his side since 2011. At least 3 wide receivers in their second year have finished in the wide receiver 2 or above category. Only 1 year there was none completely. The 2013 draft was terrible. They've got Ladarius Green, who's going to come in and take the Heath Miller role. He has his options. Again, this is an improving defense. Todd Haley likes to throw, and throw often and early.
Number 2, Dutton.
Number 2, again, we have a quarterback with, who can hurt you with his arm and his feet. It's last year's MVP, Cam Newton. The team is still built to run the ball. He's a big part of that. They've got a better offense potentially this year than last year. They've got Kelvin Benjamin coming back. And Kiaris Garrett, the undrafted free agent, is a much better Ted Ginn. And he is because, well, let's be honest, everyone is. And he is going to get his running yards because, especially in the goal line situations, more often than not, he calls his own number. So he's going to get his approaching 10 rushing touchdowns a year.
Last year, 636 yards and 10 touchdowns for Cam while running the ball. And finally, Zutton, there's a lot of names off the list, which we probably mention in a moment. Number 1.
Aaron Rodgers. Just, he's brutal. He's like a Saab or a Volvo. He's efficient. It's comfort and efficiency, and you don't often get that. He's going to have Jordy Nelson coming back. Randall Cobb will be fit again. Jeff Janis might become part of the offense. Eddie Lacy as a running threat is nice because it brings a bit of balance because teams can't just sell out to stop Rodgers. I mean, let's be honest, he had a down season last year. He threw, 31-5? That's a pretty good down season. He's still the best quarterback in the NFL in terms of what he can do for fantasy production, and I expect him to be top of the pile at the end of this year.
31-8, something, but very close, good numbers. There's going to be people asking questions on 2 NFC's quarterbacks. Where's Tony Romo and where's Kirk Cousins?
Kirk Cousins, I need to see him do it again. I know he's got a lot of weapons, but Pierre Garçon was ineffective. Deshaun Jackson has shown he can be injury prone. Josh Doxson is a rookie. We have to temper expectations. You know yourself, Jordan Reed's injury history is spotty at best. So it's a question of, can he raise this talent up to the area he was last year? If so, then next year I may put him a bit higher. Tony Romo, I can't, hand on my heart, say he's going to play 16 games. And ultimately, I think most of these people, Tyrod Taylor's got a good chance of probably missing one. Everyone else seems fairly durable. I can't say that about Tony Romo. So I can't guarantee he's going to be worth it. And also as well, the lack of opportunity. They're going to pound the ball. I know he's very efficient 2014 when they were just going through DeMarco Murray, but he played most weeks. I don't think he will this year.
Final one, Dutton, before we wrap up the show, and that's a bit of a hashtag Team Ginge. Where's my boy Andy Dalton?
Well, Andy Dalton, again, would be, probably just around the Blake Bortles. He could go a bit further up, or he could be exactly where he is. He's obviously got a stud wide receiver in AJ Green. And what else? Everyone was thinking it was going to be Tyler Eifert. He's going to be nicked up, probably going to start the season injured. Tyler Boyd is, put this way, this team has a shed load of Tylers. They've got Tyler Croft at tight end of the backup. They've got Tyler Boyd, who's going to be a slot receiver. The only other wide receiver that really got of note is Brandon LaFell. I'm good. I expect this team basically is going to go through Jeremy Hill and Gio Bernard an awful lot more, and that's going to cap Dalton's upside. And also, he had a good season. It's still Andy Dalton. I've still got the ginger prejudice.
You always have done, and you always will do, Dalton. But don't worry, I'll let you off.
Mm-hmm.
That is the Neil Dutton 13's quarterback edition. Next week we bring you, and Neil doesn't know this yet, the Neil Dutton 13's running back edition.
Oh, joys!
Get that study in, Dutton. As you know, Dutton isn't just funny. He's actually tremendously knowledgeable about the NFL. That's why he writes for loads of different places, and that's why he can hit you with stats off the top of his head as he turns over pieces of paper.
No, this is just a shopping list. Get deodorant.
Get deodorant. Well done. That's the show. Done Weird World. We've talked you through some best jobs, and we've started the Neil Dutton 13 series. Any last thoughts?
Bacon.
This has been Wax and Lyrical. Get good stuff.